Hey everyone, it's Nicole here for Lawn Fawn, and I'm super excited to share with you a new card featuring lots of new products from the new 2019 release from Lawn Fawn. Today's card is an acetate layered card that features the Oh Gnome stamps and dies, mushroom border dies, and the adorable mushroom house dies. So we're going to use all of these to create this really fun see-through design today. As I was playing with these products and I knew I wanted to create a layered card, I tried to think of a way I could use these and not have so much bulk, meaning not have a whole bunch going on the inside of the card and a whole bunch on the front and pop-ups. I mean, I had considered all the things. And so how I came up to this card is, wouldn't it be great if you could just see through to the inside of the card? So this is an acetate card from Hero Arts, and we are going to create the majority of this scene inside the card. However, it's going to be visible from the front of the card, and then what's going to be hidden is anything under that grassy and mushroom border on the front, meaning there's going to be a sentiment and then the border, that's going to be the front of the card. We're going to cover the back of that so it looks nice and clean on the back front corner, cover, and then on the inside, we're going to have a mushroom house, gnomes, and an additional greeting. So here's that mushroom border. This is die cut from the new #2 pencil cardstock from Lawn Fawn. I've also die cut my mushroom house from that #2 pencil cardstock, as well as chili pepper cardstock. Now I did use my die that I die cut to line up and die cut this again. I am die cutting this from a stitched rectangle that was die cut from the cardstock first and then trimmed into the border. It's going to go completely side to side, so this is 5.5 inches wide. I used this as a guide, or the first die cut as a guide, because we need to cover up the inside of the card. However, I originally thought I would line them up perfectly and have one on the inside, one on the out, and I really quickly realized that if I stacked and layered, you could see additional mushrooms and it could look more like a complete scene if it was higher, so I actually went back and redid that. The only piece we're going to need for the inside of the card, or pieces, is another grassy border that's going to hide our adhesive and it's going to make it really clean. And we're going to adhere the tops of the mushrooms to the inside of the card so that that looks really nice as well. You would not have to add those tops of the mushrooms. I did not add adhesive to those on the front of the card. So really, if you just want to see yellow mushrooms on the inside and don't want to worry about that, you could leave out that step if you wanted. So that's my piece that's actually going to cover up the inside of the card. As I mentioned, we're actually going to die cut the border that's going to be inside higher. So it's a little bit higher. It's going to give a nice stacked effect. We're going to adhere our mushroom border to our background piece, and then we are going to adhere our mushroom house and finally the grass. It's going to kind of tuck it inside. You'll see what I mean here in a second. That blue rectangle, that's from MERMAID Cardstock inside of our card. That piece was die cut from the outside in stitched rectangles from Lawn Fawn. This is a previously released die. I used it as opposed to our stitched rectangle die that we used for the outside of the card. For the borders, I guess. I shouldn't say the outside. We're using it outside and in, because it's slightly smaller than A2 sized. And for our card, that works wonderfully. When you're adhering a rectangle inside a card, sometimes because of the size of it and because it's sized A2 sized, it won't fold nicely inside your card. I really wanted the stitching detail on my design, and so I went ahead and did that. Or die cut a smaller rectangle, and this is just slightly smaller than A2. Compared to all of the other rectangle dies that there are in the Lawn Fawn collection, this is the one that is closest to A2 size, but not quite. So I love using it for things like this. Then I adhered my mushroom border, and we're going to figure out where we want to put our mushroom house. I'm going to tuck it over to the left a little bit, and then I'm going to just use the glue tube to layer on the top. You could leave this totally as is with the yellow peeking out, the number 2 pencil peeking out from behind. I did go ahead and die cut the top of the house from 3 colors of cardstock. I used canned pumpkin, which is an old color, and then sage leaf and pencil eraser, which are 2 new colors for Lawn Fawn, to fill in these. But I'm going to do that very last thing. That's one of the final things I did, and I just thought it added a nice little pop of color. These are all the same colors that I'm using for my mushrooms, and I really wanted to draw your eye in and make that house really the focal point. It is absolutely adorable, you guys. So cute. I love this little mushroom house. Look how fun this whole die cut scene is. Building the house, there's the door elements. I did die cut the door twice. I cut the door from the gray piece, that's Storm Cloud cardstock from Lawn Fawn, and layered it over the red door to get that two-tone effect. And I'm going to even die cut the door again from some glitter cardstock. There's a spring glitter cardstock pack that has yellow glitter cardstock, a pastel yellow, so pretty. Lots of great colors in that, you guys. But I used it to layer behind the window. I'm going to use it for the background of the lantern. I'm using it for the door, just to make it look like this little mushroom house. There's lights on inside, that little tiny bit of sparkle. Now, I like to play around with my stamps and other elements. I'm seeing where is going to be the best place to put my light pole and that lantern. How cute is that? There is everything in this mushroom house collection. So I die cut that from a frosted silver cardstock. And then I am layering the lantern piece die cut from Storm Cloud cardstock over that pastel yellow glitter cardstock. And we're going to hang that kind of in our little garden. And then we're going to stamp sentiments from the Oh Gnome stamp set on the front panel and on the inside. And I actually started on the inside. You can see I'm kind of working from the inside out today. We're going to stamp To a Friend Like Gnome Other. This is a belated birthday card. You could also make other types of cards because, like Lawn Fawn does, they create such fantastic sentiments for their stamp sets that are versatile and work for lots of different occasions. And I made a belated birthday card because I am notorious for not sending out my birthday cards on time. So this is going to be a great one to have in my stash. Heat setting the greetings with the Lawn Fawn white embossing powder, using the Lawn Fawn embossing ink to stamp both my front panel and the inside panel. So we're just going to go ahead and adhere the inside piece, and we'll come back and work on the front in a second. I've layered on the tops of my mushrooms. Look how cute those are. I just love this set, and I think you guys are going to too. It is just the most fun. So many ways to use this. Darling images from Lawn Fawn. Their release here, this brand new release, is just incredible. I cannot wait to show you all the great things and all the projects I've created with all of these new supplies that are releasing. Let's go ahead and stamp the greeting for the front of the card. So this is really the part that hides this little border that's going to go on the front, hides the rest of the sentiment inside the card. Otherwise, the scene is visible from the front and then obviously when you open it, but it's going to read Happy Belated Birthday. If you don't need that belated word, you can totally leave that out. That's a separate stamp. And then I'm going to do a thought bubble for my gnomes, and I'm going to customize it with an Oh Gnome greeting because I think that's hilarious and it works great with my sentiment. But there's also You're Sick, Sorry I Forgot, and Oh Gnome You Didn't. cute, cute little punny play on words. Definitely going to be a fantastic stamp set and dies to add to your collection. So here's what the card's looking like. How cute is this? Let's go ahead and add the tops to all of our mushrooms. Again, using an assortment of cardstock colors that are chili pepper and canned pumpkin, two colors that have been already available for Lawn Fawn. Then sage leaf and the pencil eraser colors, those are brand new. Great, great new cardstock colors. I'm a huge fan of solid cardstock, and Lawn Fawn does some of the best. I love that they're filling in with even more incredible new colors. Great basics to add to your collection. So let's cover up our adhesive on the inside of the card. Again, just using that piece that I die cut that matched up. I also added the tops of the mushrooms inside the card. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you would not have to do this if you didn't want to. I did die cut these little window pieces and I'm inlaying them. I will tell you, I originally planned to just layer a little piece of cardstock back behind the door. Something to keep in mind. It added 3 layers to the door. That would have been the yellow glitter cardstock, the red door, and then the gray. The more layers you add, the thicker and less easy your card closes. And when adding borders across the card, they weren't laying nice over the door. So I opted for just 2 layers and then inlaying those little window pieces. If you were wondering why I did it the way I did, I just wanted to explain that. If you're, wanting to be really conscious of the amount of layers you're adding and how flat and nice your scene is building, just a little tip for you guys there. Now I am stamping my gnomes on a scrap of Bristol Smooth cardstock, that Thought Bubble as well. I am going to color these in with Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. Super speedy, fast coloring. Some beige and flesh color for faces and hands. And then we're going to use combinations of reds, blues, pinks, and yellows, and maybe a little darker gray and a little light gray for the beards, I guess, for our gnomes. So I actually used all 3 gnomes. I want one of them to appear to be sitting on a mushroom, and then I have my boy and girl that are standing. One of the main reasons I opted to adhere these inside my scene, I did not want to have to die cut white solid backgrounds for my card front. So they're not tucked into the front part of my card, on the front acetate panel of my card, because I just thought that wouldn't look as nice. The die cuts, you can definitely do a back to those and they still look really beautiful, which you can kind of see that over on the right side of the screen with our mushrooms and grass. I didn't really think the white backing on these gnomes would be very cute. So I opted to adhere those to the background, the inside of my card, so I didn't have to create backers for them. And you'll never know, the recipient will never know, that it wouldn't have looked as cute if some of them had been on the front. I originally thought maybe I would do 1 or 2 on the front of the card and have the little sitting gnome inside the card, but I just didn't really think I liked how it would look with a white background. I hope that makes sense. If there's a front and a back to an image, I think that's a great opportunity to, put something on the front. You can put the rest of it on the back of, or the inside of that, and it's a really cute way to see 2 sides of a critter or an image. But for this, I just didn't think it would work very well, and I was really happy with how this turned out. I think it is really cute, makes the scene, adds these adorable little guys to our scene. We're really finishing up. We only have a few more things. When I was talking about everything included in that mushroom house set, there are even dies in this for flowers and grass. I did not use the grass. There's a little teeny tiny butterfly. I didn't use the butterfly. But there are some flower stems and tulips. And as I was adding my gnomes and gluing these down in place and adding my little thought bubble inside, I really thought, wouldn't some flowers just be the perfect finishing touch? Tuck those into our little flower garden. Let's just do them on the inside of the card so that they're visible from both when the recipient takes the card out of the envelope as well as when they open it. But I think it would just add to fill in our garden. We've got these mushrooms, we've got our mushroom house, we've got our gnomes. I felt like we needed some flowers, just a little something else. Look how cute that is, you guys. So much fun. Anyway, and I'm going to do some little white dots at the end of the greeting and also on the inside of the card, just so the recipient knows that the sentiment comes from the front to the inside of the card. Just did that with a white pen. But I'm going to take now, you can see I also filled in the roof of the mushroom house with those contrasting colors of little spots. I'm going to glue down my flower stems. These were die cut from Lawn Fawn Cilantro Cardstock, and add the tulips. This is a combination of sunflower, raspberry, fake tan colors of cardstock. I just used several other different colors of cardstock to help make my tulips show up a little bit better. And I think I did about, let's look, 1, 2, 3, 5 flowers just tucked in here and there, and they really finish off our little gnome garden scene perfectly. The last thing we're going to do, the back of our card, you're going to be able to see adhesive, so you want to put a backer on this to hide that, and it's a great place to then stamp, handmade by, or write your name or anything like that. So we're just die cutting another mermaid panel from that outside in stitched rectangle and popping it on the back. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for this Oh Gnome Mushroom House and Mushroom Border card featuring brand new stamps and dies from Lawn Fawn. The supplies I used to create my card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos featuring Lawn Fawn stamps and dies that you might be interested in. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and we'll catch you next time.